Prasad Professor and Mr. Professor, Senators and friends of the UNC. I stand here this evening in support of Kamala Prasad Professor as the leader of the UNC. And I do so because I think she has remained true to the cause for which this party was founded and has every right to lead it if she wishes. I was there at the very beginning when the party started, and I think a number of those things that were present at the foundation are present today as well. And I see it particularly in the foundational question that was asked, and I know you will remember this question. And the question was, if half of the people are going one way, and the gesture was this, and if the other half of the people are going this way, how can the country go forward? And the answer that Mr. Pandey gave was that it can't. The only way it can go forward was to unite. And he did this, to unite. And so then he went for inspiration, and he looked to Martin Luther King and Mahatma Gandhi and how they had started national congresses in their countries to get beyond the partitions in order to have political transformation. And that's where we got the words United National Congress. And so when I look at Kamala, I see that she got a country when the economy was in shambles. And that's something that would have affected all of us. And she turned that round. And that has affected all of us. And I think we shouldn't forget that. When she dealt with education, she did more than anyone. She ensured that everyone had a place in a secondary school. We wonder why we have crime, we wonder why people feel they don't belong, we wonder why there isn't ownership. And part of that reason was because we took 10,000 teenagers every year and said, there's no place for you. And she included them. She wanted education for all. And then she democratized tertiary education by producing GATE. So I think when she does these things and when they are for all, that's where you get the actual evidence of unitedness in the country. And that's very important because she has shown that she can do this in larger, more complex contexts, so she can certainly do it with the party, now that she has the time to do so. And I'm talking about 88 and Club 88, and we have had 98 and 108, but by 2018, we have to have that. And so I ask you to let her do that. Ask her to do that for the party. The other thing that struck me was development. I think she has done development in a way nobody else has, that no other leader has. She has opened up the country. She has taken it from urban solely into rural communities. She has run highways from Toko to Cedros, from Chaguaramas to Mayaro. When you do that, when you open up the country, and when you allow buildings and businesses, you allow people to flow in this development movement where they were isolated before. That's very important. And I think what impressed me most was that if she had had the time, I think she was gearing to stabilize the family. And that's really so important to every woman. She was talking about having a roof over everyone's head, a home for everyone. I mean, what can you do that's more radical than that? It struck me so forcibly, because just before the election, I remember the psychologists group were talking about they were lobbying for trauma centres, which we need. They wanted a dedicated centre where you could have integrated teams providing trauma interventions. But what I saw Kamala's doing was providing this type of care and attention for the whole country, because in a way we swim in a culture of trauma because of the homicides and the crimes and the stresses that we live with. So in wanting a home for everyone, which was a huge vision, education, health, employment and inclusion for everyone, she has done, I think, the aims of the cause of the United National Congress. I see in her the drive and the determination and the commitment, and not the lust for power, as she goes forward for this position as leading the United National Congress. So I ask you to allow her now to build the family of the UNC, and to build it in a way that is united and inclusive and fair and for all, because that's what the country needs, and it needs it through this party. I think too that she will have the courage to revisit the party groups, because those institutions haven't really worked. And maybe we should look at interest groups where people are attracted and put their energy and mobilize for things they're interested in, and put forward recommendations for policy and planning according to the interests at community level. And from that way we can build from groups to constituencies to caucus to Congress, and we can take the party, which we know is not in a good shape, into what really was the dream of a United National Congress through Galway.